All right, so it's now being recorded. If you haven't signed in, make sure you do so. All right, so I'm gonna move this over. Let's see. All right, so these are the following schools right here. The 17 schools, those schools, the school test coordinator and the principal do not have access to DRC. So if you're in this meeting, in this training, and your school's listed right here, let me go ahead and expand it, and your school's listed, that means, that means that your principal did not submit the Google form. In order for our department, so the department policy is that in order for us to give you access to DRC and administration of DRC, or for Illuminate or any other testing, we must have on file the Google form. So if you're on that list, if your school's on that list, you do not have access. Now, you can still listen, and I am recording this, and so you could do the task once you get access. All right, any questions at this point? All right. Okay, so there are 17 schools here that still have not submitted that Google form. And your school will not be able to give the diagnostic until that's done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this part. And let's get the agenda. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do today is learn how to create test sessions and then printing test tickets. So the window for the diagnostic opens Monday, but you have until September 13th to give the diagnostic. All right, so the prerequisite, and this was sent to you last week. So for this meeting, the prerequisite for this training are the following. So either you attended the overview for Leap 360 last week that was given on August 6th, or you watched the recording. And the recording is in the Leap 360 Canvas course. The second one was that you completed task 1. And task 1 was for you to verify that you had access to the DRC portal and having the administration of Diagnostic Interim 2024-2025. And then the third one was that you began working on task 5. So task 5, when we did the overview, so we talked about that for the diagnostic, for any testing or instructional purposes, students must receive their accommodations. So one of the things you have to do before students take the diagnostic is for you to provide those students that need accommodations, their accommodations in DRC. Okay? All right, so those are the 3 things that were prerequisites for this training. All right, and then the items needed for this session are the following. So you're going to need the user guide in DRC and task 6 from the Leap Canvas course. And then if you're going to do anything with practicing today, you're going to need at least 1 or 2 class lists that you can start putting students in, just so you can practice. All right, so those are the 2 things that you need for today. All right, any questions before we start? All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and we're going to look at task 6. That's in the Leap Canvas course. So let me go ahead and move this out the way. So we're going to go to task 6 in the Canvas course. All right, so let's go to the Canvas course. So to get to the Canvas course, and that was one of the tasks that you should have already done, but to get to the Canvas course, the easiest way to do that is to type in ebr-schools.instructor, instructure.com. So ebr-schools.instructor, instructure.com. And okay, I'm already in, but once you get in, you'll have your courses. The other way is just to go to the EDR website, so edrschools.org. And when you go to the website, you're going to go to right here, Employee Resources. So let's click on Employee Resources. And then you're going to go to Quick Links right here. Go to Quick Links. And then somewhere in here, the very first one right here is Canvas. So when you click on Canvas, it will ask you to sign in. Once you sign in, then you'll have all your courses that you're enrolled in listed. All right, so what you want to do though is go to the one that says Leap 360 right here, Leap 360 EDR right here. So once you get to that, so you're going to click here, and it'll bring you to the Canvas course. And so when we did the overview last week, we talked about the information that's up here, and we talked about the information for teachers that are down here. All right, so what we want though is task number 6. So your tasks are listed here. So the test coordinator task. So that's where the tasks are listed. So when we go to task number 6, this is what you see. So task 6 is where you start creating test sessions. And so the prerequisites for creating test session is this. So let me go ahead and highlight it. So any student requiring online accommodations must have those accommodations already assigned before placing them in a test session. That's important. So if you put a student into a test session and then you give them their accommodations, that accommodation will not work. For example, text to speech. The computer will not read the test to them. So before you put students into a test session and those students need accommodations, you have to place their accommodations first. Okay, any questions at that point? All right. The second bullet. At some point in the process, you will need to edit or delete a test session. Make sure you read the document called Editing or Deleting Test Sessions. So that's this one right here. For some of you, the next bullet, for some of you, especially elementary schools, you may be able to use the function called copying a test session. And so make sure you read that. So copying a test session is right here. So for example, for elementary schools, the same students taking the math test will also take the English test for that teacher. And so rather than creating the whole test session and putting students in, you could just copy it and the students are automatically put in there. And so that usually works for elementary schools. Middle schools, the students in a teacher's math class may not be the same students in another teacher's English class. So they're mixtures. So copying a test session would not be efficient in that case. Okay, so that's task number 6. So first thing I'm going to do, let's look at the notes here before we go to this right here. So the notes, I'm going to move this, I can't move it up. All right, so the note says this. If you want to set up a session based on the teacher's class, you may want to set up a test session based on the teacher's class. For example, if I'm teaching grade 5 math, and let's say I only have one class, then you call the session DOSAT Math Grade 5 Diagnostic. So what you want to do is because those teachers are going to have to go and grade those writing responses. So they need to know which sessions are theirs. So whenever you create a test session, make sure the teacher's last name, and there's more than one teacher with the same last name, you may want to use the first initial and then last name. So the teacher's last name, the course, and the grade level. If it's elementary. If it's, let's say the teacher has 2 classes. of math right here. It's the second bullet. You may want to call it Dozat Math Grade 5 Period 1. And then the other one could be Dozat Math Grade 5 Period 2. So just make sure that the way you name it has the teacher's name in it. And if the teacher has more than one classes, you may want to call them Period 1, Period 2, or Hour 1, Hour 2, or Block 1, Block 2, however you do it. All right, so just make sure the teacher is able to see, and you and your principal are able to know which sessions belong to with teachers. All right, the third bullet, if my first class has 25 students, I would put all students in that test session. All right, now that is different from summative tests when you do the LEAP test in the spring. So remember, in the LEAP test, you're going to put your accommodated students in a session and then your regular students in another session. You don't want to do that in LEAP 360. In LEAP 360, you want to put, if a teacher has 25 students, let's put all 25 students in one session. The reason for that is those reports. If you split that teacher's class into different sessions, the teacher's not going to have one report with all that student information. The teacher's going to have to go to each of those individual reports and get them that way. All right, so when creating test sessions in LEAP 360, you want to put all students for that teacher in one class. The reason, again, is because that teacher needs a comprehensive report to drive their instruction. And your principal may want to know as well, and your executive director may want to know as well, how did that class do as a whole? If you split them up, they're not going to be able to determine that. All right, so before we go on, any questions on what I just mentioned? Now, when you actually do the LEAP test in the spring, you're going to have to separate them. That's required. But your teachers don't go in and look at those reports like they would in a formative test, which is what LEAP 360 is. Okay? So LEAP 360 is to drive instruction. It is not a summative test. Okay, so any questions on any of those bullets before we actually click on the file that talks about creating a test session? All right, so everyone good at this point? Okay, so I'm going to go now, and that first one right here, oh Lord, what was that? Please mute yourself. Who is unmuted? Please mute yourself. Thank you. Okay. All right, so this first one right here, creating test session and adding students. So let's go ahead and look at that. All right, so some of you only have one monitor. If you have two monitors, it really helps out. But some of you only have one, so you're going to have all these tabs that you're going to be dealing with. So just do the best you can with listening to and watching what we're doing. All right. Okay, so I'm going to click on the down arrow right here, and it'll open it up here. And this is the file you're going to need to help you. So it's 6 pages. So creating a test session and adding students to a test session. Step 1, go to all my applications. So what that means then is you're going to go to DRC. So now let's go to DRC. So I'm going to leave that here. So I'm going to go to DRC, log into DRC. So you're going to go to la.drcedirect.com. So la.drcedirect.com. So let me go ahead and write it out again. All right. All right, so la.drcedirect.com. So that's what you're going to need, so make sure you do that. So I'll give you about a minute to go ahead and log in. So start type that in. So la.drcedirect.com. All right, so remember those 17 schools that I showed you earlier, you're not going to have Leap 360. You won't be able to have that until your principal submits that Google form. All right, so then when you type in la.drcedirect.com, you get to this page right here. So your username is your email address, and then your password is whatever password you set up. If you forgot your password, then you're going to click on Forgot Password. All right, now someone's asking, can someone put the link in the chat box? What link are you referring to, Miss Obi? I'm not sure what link you're referring to. Which document?
To the document so that I can click on the
You're talking about
hyperlinks
the DRC?
that you're working on right now. No, the document that you were giving us the instructions on and going over, and it has the hyperlinks
The
to get to that on it.
you're talking about this? That? Okay, that is in the Canvas
No, the one
course.
before that one.
You have to be in the
That,
Canvas course,
yes.
or what school are you located? Okay, Great Hearts told me they weren't giving
Great Hearts.
Leap 360. Did y'all change your mind? Yeah, so
I'm not
someone
sure, but
indicated the
they
STC.
have
Are you
this
the
meeting on my
STC?
calendar.
Yeah, so your school test coordinator indicated to me
I'm the
that Great
ESS
Hearts was not
coordinator.
giving Leap 360. You're welcome. Talk to your school test coordinator. Now, if they
Okay,
change their mind,
thank
this
you
is being
so much.
recorded, and I'll send that out. But Great Hearts indicated that they were not giving Leap 360. You're welcome. Okay, so this document, by the
Thank
way,
you.
and I'm glad that Miss Obi asked that question. This is in your Canvas course, so you have to have access to Canvas, and then Great Hearts does not have access to Canvas, so she wouldn't be able to get in. Charter schools have to pay for Canvas, so some charter schools don't have access to the Canvas course. Okay, now where were we? Okay, so again, if you've got your password, go ahead and click on Forgot Password. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Okay, so when you sign in, you'll get this page. See that? All right, now the directions, I'm following the directions as you see them. I'm going to go ahead and move this over. And so step number 1 said go to all applications. So here we are at all applications right here. And then somebody see that down arrow? And then it says select test management. So here's test management right here. Okay. So I click on test management, and then you'll see these tabs. And then you want to go still on step number 1. You want to go to manage test sessions. And when you go to manage test sessions, this is what you see. All right. So we're at this point. Okay. Any questions? Okay. All right. And then step 2 says select the tab that's called Manage Test Sessions. So that's this one here, the one that's highlighted. Let me go ahead and show you. That's just right here. Okay, and so you'll see this information right here. Okay, for administration, right here. So anything with an asterisk, by the way, anything with an asterisk, you have to put something there. So there's an asterisk right here, a red asterisk. So you got to choose an administration. So the administration you want to choose is Leap 360 Interim 24-25. If you are not one of those 17 schools, then I gave access to the school test coordinator and the principal. One of their tasks was to give access to their backup. So if you're a backup and you don't see this right here, that means your school test coordinator did not give you access. So one of the school test coordinator's tasks was to give the backup access and teachers access and anyone else at their school that needed access, like an ESS specialist or maybe the assistant principal, someone like that. Okay? But if you're a school test coordinator, you should have access. You should see Leap 360 Diagnostic Interim 2024-2025. All right, so you can click on that. And then there's a school list. So let me just go ahead and don't put any schools here. All right, so then you're going to scroll all the way at the bottom, and then you'll see where it says add a session right here. Okay, so we're still in step number 2. So look, I'm still on step number 2 right here. Oops. Step number 2. See right here, it says add session. So scroll all the way to the bottom and then select add session. All right, so this is where we are. All right, so then I'm going to click on add session, and then this shows up. All right, so school is required. So I'm going to just pick a school. All right, and I'm going to pick Audubon Elementary. All right, okay. So I'm going to go back down and then add a session. All right, so now we see this. So this is what you're going to see. Okay, now let's go to step number 3. All right, step number 3. You want to complete the fields for add test session page. All asterisks are required fields. Second bullet. I'm going to expand this a little bit more. Second bullet. For session name, we talked about this a while ago. For session name, it is very important that you use a nomenclature that teachers, you, your principal, the accountability office, the executive directors can find when we help you. So for the diagnostic, use an example like the following: DOZOT, grade 8, math, period 1. So just make sure that the teacher's name is there, because the teacher is going to have to at some point score the writing response, and they're going to need those reports. Okay? For the interims, when we do the interims later on, instead of you may want to put in there the word interim 1, period 1, however you name it. But make sure the teacher's name is listed, the grade level, the subject, and the interim and period for the interims. Ms. Mafady, you had a question? Okay. All right. Next thing, don't change the begin date and end date. Leave it as the default. So when we go through this, you're going to see there's a begin date and an end date. Don't change it. Leave it as it is. Don't assign test administrators. Leap 360 does not require test administrators. Test administrators are only required for the summative test, the spring test, the state test. Leap 360, no test administrators. Okay? All right. It is a good idea to filter search for available students so you can limit the number of students you have to scroll through. Search by grade level. If you're just adding a couple of students, you could filter using student's last name, first name, or LACID. All right. So any question of these notes before we move on? Uh-huh. What do you mean?
Yes, I have a question.
I'm not sure what you mean.
What about for scoring?
Teachers,
Are there like constructive responses or some sort of
the
writing?
teachers got to score those.
Are
I'm not
those,
sure
is
what
that
you
in
mean
the
by
item bank? Yeah.
do they have what? Yes, yes.
Do they
So
have
one
the
of the tasks
BTAs to
I sent
score,
to
or
you
do they need access?
was to
Do
give
they?
teachers access to DRC. And in that task, it said they must have
Mhm.
educator scoring. And they must have, and what was the other one I told y'all to give them? Y'all remember? Educator scoring. What was the last one that you had to
Okay.
go in and make sure they had? Come on, y'all. Yeah, view dynamic reports. Remember that one? Yeah, Ms. Hall,
The reports.
did you start giving teachers access?
Mhm. Yeah, for educator scoring and review reports. Yeah, I did. I just wanted to make sure
No. What
they,
you're
so
what
they
you're gonna
didn't
do is
have, they don't have, they
you're
should
gonna
not be
give them
test administrators in
the
order to
permission of
score.
teacher,
Okay. All right.
and then whatever's highlighted, you move over. One of the things highlighted will be educator
Okay.
scoring. But then remember, those teachers are using Leap 360
Yeah.
to determine where students are, what they know, what they don't know. They're using it to drive instruction. So they have to go back in and they have to view those reports. So then what they also need is view dynamic reports. Otherwise, they're not going to have access to any of those reports, and they're going to have to rely on you, your backup, your principal to give that all to them, which should not be the case. The teachers need to know how to get the reports themselves. Okay, that answer your question? And thanks for that question. Okay, you're welcome. All right. Okay.
Yes.
One
Yes.
of the
Thank you.
things that Ms. Hall mentioned, I'm going to remind you again, is this one here. Don't assign test administrators. You only need those for summative test. What you're going to do is you're going to give the teacher access. And then that automatically gives them everything they need, except the last thing you have to give them is view dynamic reports. Otherwise, you're not going to see those reports. Okay? All right. So now, this is where we are now. Okay, so let's and just go ahead and practice as we go along. Ms. Johnson, you had a question, Valencia?
Yes. If I named it by grade level, because our school, our fourth and fifth grade teachers teach ELA for fourth and fifth grade.
But how would those
Would
teachers
that
know
be
which one to
okay if I
pick?
just did grade 5 and grade 4?
So you only have one teacher?
Because it's the same teacher for ELA.
Okay. No, that's fine as
One
long as the
teacher
teacher
for
knows
both ELA fourth
which
and
ones they're
fifth grade.
assigning. So if you only have one English one person at your school that teaches ELA for grade 4 in math, then that's fine. All right. As long as it's something that as long as they know
Okay.
where to go.
All right.
Yes.
Should I change will they be ever able to see other people's test sessions?
I would go ahead and edit and put the
So should I
teacher's
just put
initials.
the school name or initials in front of
I would
it
just go ahead and
then?
do that. So one of the things you can do is edit this.
Okay.
And we'll come back to it in a
All
little
right.
while. All right.
Okay.
So go ahead and practice. You can do session name. So remember, anything
Okay.
with an asterisk is required. So I'm just going to say Dozat, and let's say it's grade 4 math, and I have many periods of grade 4 math. So let's say this is first hour, second hour, period 1, period 2. I'm just going to call it period 1 for first hour. Okay. And then you're going to select a content area. You're going to select a content area. And this is an elementary, so I'm going to select math, grade 3 through 8. Okay. All right, second bullet. Third bullet, assessment. Okay, now we need to talk about this. This is diagnostic math. So notice that for math is easy for the diagnostic. There's only one form. You see diagnostic grade 3, there's no other grade 3 listed. But if I did English, watch what happens. English grade 3 through 8. And I look at assessment. Look at the diagnostic. There are different forms. Form 1A, Form 1B, Form 1C, and so on, right? So there are different forms. You need to make sure you pick the right form for English. Math is easy. There's only one form for the diagnostic. But for English, it's not. So let me remind you where to find those form numbers. Okay, so listen carefully. So you can't do this one just yet until you find those forms that you need. Okay? All right, so we're going to go back to the Canvas course. We'll go back to the Canvas course. All right, and we'll go to the home page, in the home page. And here's where you're going to find those forms. So remember, this is diagnostic, right? So in this little part right here where it says diagnostic, it says, which version do I give? Which version do I give? So when I click on that, when I click on which version do I give, it brings me to this. Math is easy. Math all grades, there's only one form to choose from. So there should be no error made there. But for ELA, there are different forms. So when you do the ELA one, if you're setting one up for grades 3, 4, and 6, you're going to use form 1B. If you're setting up a session for grade 5 ELA for diagnostic, you're going to use form 1A. And then grades 7, 8, English 1, and English 2, you're going to use form 1A. All right, so these are the different forms that are required for the diagnostic for different grade levels. So if you're going to have your backup help you or someone else at your school help you, make sure they know which form for the diagnostic, and then when we get to interim later on, we'll look at those forms. But let's just focus on diagnostic for right now. Make sure that they know which form is needed for ELA diagnostic. Okay, any questions? Ms. Valencia, did you have another question?
I left my thing up, but I do have a question. So could you
So let me go
change
to
if you
your
put the
school.
wrong
I'm going to go to your
test?
school. So you've already put something in,
Or you have to start over?
right? Okay. So what school? All right, so I'm going to go to Sharon Hills.
Yes, yes.
I could just
Sharon
message
Hills.
her. All right, go to Sharon Hills. I'm going to show the session. And that's one of the things we're going to go over, but we're going to go back and forth here. But if you're going to go and edit a session, by the way, any of you, and many of you are going to go and do that because you're going to get new students in that class. Or you could do like Ms. Valencia did. She put the wrong form. You're going to go to you're going to click on show sessions right here. So we can click on show sessions. And then Miss Valencia, these are the sessions you create. You see those? Okay. Um, and so you have one, two, three. You have six
Yes.
sessions. Which session? Oh, okay. So yeah. Okay. It's okay. Okay. So
Um,
right here, see where it says assessment?
grade
It,
3 and 4
whenever
needs
you
to be
click an
changed
assessment, it
to
automatically puts
1B.
the form you've chosen. So let's just make sure we're correct. All right, grade 5, Valencia, you chose form 1A. Was that the correct form? Okay. For grade 4, you chose form 1A. Is that the correct form?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go here to change it. So you're going to go where it says that little pencil
No.
icon right here. You click on that pencil icon that says view edit, and then you see this. Okay? All right. Now, y'all, I'm recording this, right? But notice some students' names showed up. So I'm gonna have to blur this. So you're not gonna get the recording right away. It takes a while to blur all these images. All right. So Valencia, right here. Well, obviously I don't think you can because it's grayed out. Do you see that? Okay. So here's nope. I think what
Yes.
you can do is this. All right.
So would I just
So
copy the
notice
names and
that
then just
Valencia,
start a new test?
she made an error with the form. It's grayed out. You can see it right here. It's grayed out. So that means I cannot change it. But here's what you can do. You can copy it. So let me show you how to copy it. All right. So I'm gonna cancel right here, and right here, you see that third one. Let me point to it. Right here. See where it has like two sheets of paper on top of each other? You see that? I'm talking to Valencia, but really all of you. Okay. It's okay. All right. And no, it's okay. And so
Yes. Yes.
you click on it.
Yes.
So I'm copying
I
the
keep on
session.
muting and unmuting.
Okay. Now, you see all the students are still there, right? And then, okay, right here, so now it's no, oh, now the session name changed. So you have to do the session name again. So just go ahead and type it
Yes.
in. But go ahead and type in the session name. But all you do now is right here, you can change the form. Okay. And then you save. Does that help you? Okay, now go ahead and do that now because then we got to go back and delete that other session. So go
Yes,
ahead
it
and do
does.
that. I'll
Thank you so
cancel. Go
much.
ahead and um, add the session name, add the correct form, save it, and then tell me when you've done that. You done? No? Okay. No.
Okay.
Just yeah. Okay. Um, uh,
No.
go
I
ahead and
was
do the
doing the
fourth
third
grade one
grade
real
one,
quick.
changing it while you were showing me. Okay.
All right, so everyone saw how to copy, right? So we're going to make these kind of mistakes, especially the form number. So once you realize your form number is not correct, you're going to have to copy that test session because you don't want to go back and add those students again. You're just going to copy and then you fix it. And I'm waiting for Ms. Johnson to let me know when she's done. Okay. Let me see what. Because I'm going to go ahead up here and just um, reload. Let's see what happens. Well, I guess I had to click on Manage Test Sessions again. I thought it would automatically do it. Show sessions. All right, Ms. Johnson, did you add that session yet? Okay. All right. So this one was the one that was not correct, right?
Yes, I did.
The one that said Form 1A? Because grade 4 was supposed to be Form 1B. Is that correct? Okay. So now once you've copied it and you fixed it,
Yes.
then you're going to go and delete. See that little X
Right.
button? So click on that and delete that wrong session. So it's not there, so no one makes a mistake and uses it. So go ahead and delete it. Okay? Let me know when you've deleted it. Okay, I'm going to show sessions, and so it should no longer be there, and so it's gone. All right, so any questions
I have.
from anyone? It's going to happen where you're going to use a wrong form, and all you do is just copy that session. Your student's already in there, and you just change the session name and the form name. All right, thank you for that teachable moment. Okay, so now let's go back to here. All right, so let's go through the steps. All right, so we want to go in and create a test session. Can someone tell me where I go from here? I'm at my applications. What do I do? Anyone? Miss Johnson, can you lower your hand, please? Because it's still raised, and I keep thinking you have a question. Thank you. Anyone, tell me where to go to create a test session. I'm gonna call somebody. All right, and then okay, click on that, and then go to
Manage tests.
which one do I use?
My applications.
Test management. All right, then what do I click on?
Test management.
Yep. Okay, and then still turning.
Manage test
Let me do it again.
sessions.
All right. Okay, now you have two tabs: manage test session, upload multiple test sessions. Most people don't want to deal with uploading multiple test sessions, only for the reason is that it has to be a certain format, and then there could be errors, and you would have to figure out what those errors are. It's just quicker. It is just quicker to do that first tab. I'm not going to do anything with the multiple test sessions because you do need to put all that in a spreadsheet, and I believe it has to be a CSV file. All right. Okay, so where's Sharon Hills? Okay, now, if I want to create a test session, where do I go? Do I click on Show Sessions or something else? Yeah, but I mean, but
When you click on
yeah, so scroll down to the
administration and
bottom,
choose
right there,
diagnostic,
right here, and you're going to add a session.
Add
Yeah,
session
and
at
then
the
this
bottom.
shows up. All right, so anything with an asterisk is required. All right, so you can do a session name.
okay.
I'm just making some stuff up right now. Dozat, grade 4. Let's do English. And then let's say I had multiple periods. I'm going to put period 3. Okay, then you're going to select content area. So I'm going to select, since this is an elementary, I'm going to select English 3 through 8. And remember this is ELA, right? So look at the different forms. Okay, now when you start creating your test session, and if you're having someone help you, need to let them know that they need to get those form numbers from the Canvas course. And so this is grade 4 diagnostic ELA, grade 4. So I'm going to scroll down to see grade 4. So here's grade 4. There's a form 1A, form 1B, form 1C, form 2A, 2B, 2C for grade 4. I need to know which one I'm using. So I'm going to go. Ms. Dilling had a question, or you want to answer something? Yeah, and you got that from the Canvas course
I was going to answer
that
form
and it's located.
1B for fourth grade.
As we go through this, we're doing a lot of reviewing. So it's located right
Uh-huh.
here. Diagnostic, which version do I give? Right here. And so when you click on that, you'll see that for grade 4, right here, you're going to need form 1B. Okay, so just make sure using the right form. So we're going to go back, and then we're going to pick form 1B right here. Okay. No test administrator. Keep the dates as a default. So it goes from July 16th through June 30th of 2025. Keep the dates as they are. Don't change the dates. Okay. Now, remember, some classes may have, let's say, 20 students, right? So the best way to do that is don't go to find students just yet. Filter. So since this is grade 4, you may want to just click on grade 4. Now, high school is different because high school, you could have Algebra 1, and that could be 9th grade students in Algebra 1. There could be 10th grade students in Algebra 1. There could even be seniors in Algebra 1. So your filtering is going to be a little different. And then grade 4, and then just find students. So since I filter for grade 4, only grade 4 students will show up. So I'm going to say find students. And so these are the grade 4 students at that school. Okay. And then from the class list for that teacher, for Dozot grade 4, period 3, I would just go through and highlight the names of the students in that class. All right, you can't see what I'm doing now, but if you press on Control, you could highlight multiple names. Just press on Control. Just keep Control pressed. And then scroll down. So go to the next one. Let's say I need this one. Scroll down, go to the next one. Let's say I need this student. Scroll down, go to the next one. Let's say I need this student, and so on. So you see those blue highlights? What am I pressing to keep those blue highlights blue? Control. Okay, thank you. And then just keep going until you find what you need. And then let's say I'm done.
Control.
I've highlighted all the 4th grade students in that class. Now I got to put them on this side now. I got to go from here to here. Which arrow do I use to put them in the session? Do you think? See those arrows right here? Which one do I use? Just take a guess. The first one, because I want to see the arrows pointing to the right, right? So I want to take all those things that are highlighted and then move them to the right. If you had stuff here and you need to take some students out, you'd highlight those and use the second arrow to move them to the left. Now be careful, the 2 double arrows, see where it says add all? You see that now, right? It showed up, add all. So that means that everything on the left side is going to move to the right side, and that's not what you want. So you will very rarely ever use the 2 arrows pointing to the right. Now, you could remove all the students here. Let's say you made a mistake and you didn't mean to put all those students here. You just do the bottom arrows pointing to the left, there's 2, and it moves everything back to the right. So let me show you. So let's say I click this, and now they all move to the right, right? That's because I clicked on the arrow here, the 2 arrows pointing to the right. Okay, so obviously I made a mistake. So what do I need to do to take these students right here and move them here? All of them. Which arrows do I press? Yeah, yep. So remove all. And now they're back
Click
here.
the bottom
Okay,
one.
so now I'm going to go back
Them all
and I'm
back.
going to find all the students in that teacher's class, even the accommodated students, all those students in that teacher's class, put them here. Now, let me remind you, if any of those students required accommodations, what should you have done first? Before you move students here, what should you have done first with those students that needed accommodations? Yeah. So if you move a student over into a session,
Put the
and
accommodations in this for the
that
students first.
accommodation will not work, especially text to speech will not work. So then what you would have to do, if that happens, and you won't know that until the day of the test when the student is saying, I'm not hearing anything, then you realize, oh, I made a mistake and I signed the accommodation after the student was placed in the session. But what you would do is you would remove the student out, save it, go back, and I'll show you where, go back and then put the accommodation in, come back and add the student back, and then save. That's the process you have to go through. Okay? In a little while, we're going to go through and show you where to assign their accommodations. All right. So let's say I need this person. And you see, let's say I need this one right here. Notice that the blue went away from the other one. Why did the blue go away from the other one? Why those highlighted keep disappearing? Because I'm not pressing control. So I'm going to click the first one, and then I'm going to press control, and I'm going to go through.
Because you're not pressing
I'm going to
control.
find all of the other students in that teacher's class. Once I find them all, which button do I press? Which arrow? I got to move them to the other side. I got to put the first one. Yep. And then those are the students in that teacher's class for grade 4,
The first,
English,
the top
period 3. And then what do I click on? I can click on save, or I can click on save and add another session. Okay, however you want to do that. I'm not going to save here because that's a fake session. Now, what's supposed to happen is this. Once you put students in a session, those students, when you go to add a session, those students should no longer be available because they're already in a session. So that kind of helps a little. So those students will no longer be available students because they're already in a session for ELA. So when you go to the next ELA session, they shouldn't show up. They should not show up. Okay? All right. Any questions on how to create a test session? Let me know now. Okay? All right. Now, let's go and talk about how to add their accommodations. So remember, you gotta for accommodations, you gotta put their accommodations first before you do any of this. Okay. All right. Now, as a school test coordinator, the backup, or whoever is helping the school test coordinator with this, you need to have a conversation with your 504 coordinator. You need to have conversations with your ESS lead teacher. And you may have an English learner at your school. So you're going to need that English learner coordinator checklist to see what those accommodations for English learners are. So those are 3 things that you're going to need. And those 504 coordinator and the ESS lead teacher should help you should tell you which students need accommodations and what those accommodations are. All right, once you have that information, then you're going to go up here. You're going to go to My Applications, and you're going to click on Student Management. So remember that, Student Management. Yes, every teacher will view the sessions. You're going to click on student management. So one of the questions is, will every teacher be able to view the active sessions? I'm not sure what you mean by active, but they'll be able to view the sessions. All right, when I go to student management, this shows up. Take a guess. Which of those tabs do you think you're going to click on to add their accommodations? Which of those three right here? Which of these three, right? Yeah, you're going to click on Manage Students, right? So click on Manage Students,
Manage student.
and
Manage,
this
manage
shows up.
student.
Okay. All right. So some of you may have a few students with accommodations. Some of you may have a lot. There is no easy way to deal with this. You could click on the last name. So I'm in Sharon Hills. So Miss Johnson, just give me in your chat area, since the chat area is not showing up here, type the last name and first name of a student that may need accommodations, or just any student at your school. It doesn't matter. Any student. Just give me the name of one of your students in the chat area. I'm using Sharon Hills right now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and type in that student's name. Now don't whenever we're talking about students, don't mention the student's name out loud, because I can blur names, but I can't delete sound. So just be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and type in that student's name. It'll be blurred at some point. Oops, did the wrong name. All right, last name, first name. All right, and then you can also do by LaCid. I'm going to say find the student. All right, so the student showed up. Okay, so there's that student. Right here, you'll see an action right here. There's only one little icon there. And also notice there's the student's LaCid, there's the student's date of birth, and there's the student's grade level. But to add those accommodations, you're going to click on that icon right here, that pencil paper icon. And when I do that, I get this. Okay? All right. Notice again. And when you get this, a lot of this will be blurred because all of this are student information. But notice you have the date of birth, grade level, gender, the school, the student's first name, last name, and the LaCid. What you want to click on is accommodations. You also have to go through demographics, and that's about all you need. So you're going to have to, if the student's accommodations, you have to go to the accommodations, and then you have to do the demographics as well. All right, so I'm going to click on accommodations. All right, and then for Leap 360, these are the online accommodations. So notice the online accommodations for Leap 360 are text-to-speech, translated test content in Spanish, and calculators. So remember, some students with accommodations, they can use calculator in every section of math. So just keep that. So those are for Leap 360, those are the online accommodations. Now, someone's asking this question. Ms. Mack is asking a question. There's no small group. Now, remember, these are the online accommodations. So those are computer accommodations, Ms. Mack. So yes, if a student needs small group, then you give them small group. So and remember, small group is 8 or less. So let's say I'm a teacher and I have 20 students in my room, 4 are small group. Then as a test coordinator, you're going to have to take those 4 students and you're going to have to put them in a room with 8 or less students. But small group is not going to be listed here. Small group won't be listed here because these are only online accommodations. Small group is just something you put students into another room with 8 or less. Same thing for extended time. So some of your accommodations have extended time, right? Notice you don't see extended time here, but extended time is in when you take the LEAP test. Extended time is all day. All right, but small group. If a student requires small group, you still have to provide that small group testing. All right, so I'm going to X out. I'm going to go ahead and cancel, and then you would save. I hit cancel. I'm going to go back, and then I want someone to tell me the process that I go through to give accommodations to a student. So I'm at my applications. So where do I go from there? Okay, yep, you're going to go to student management, and then which tab?
Student management.
Manage students. Then you're gonna just type in the
Manage
student's last
students.
name, first name, or the LACIT, however you want to do it. And then when you do that, you're gonna click on Find Students, right? Okay, and then from this point, where do I go to add those accommodations?
Yes.
You're gonna go to Action right here, click on that, and then the Accommodation tab.
Action.
Click on the Accommodation tab right here. And then you're going to put in their accommodations, text to speech, translated test content, basic calculator. And then don't forget the demographics. It looks like the demographics are already in there. But always double check the demographics. By the way, so students are uploaded with eScholar. So whatever's in J Campus, and it's overnight. So if a student comes to your school, let's say today, supposedly tomorrow they should be in Leap 360 because it goes through eScholar. Okay? You don't have to be adding any students. Don't add any students. Don't manually add any students. As long as they're listed correctly in J Campus through eScholar, they'll be in DRC the next day. All right, Ms. Stewart has a question. I have a student that has been enrolled since the first day of school, but is not appearing. What should I do? Okay. Or first of all, did you verify in J Campus? Did you verify and that student is listed correctly?
Yes, I did.
Well, let's see. So
Yep, it says they've
before I
been
go to
enrolled
your
since 8/8. So I
issue,
was checking to
any
make sure
questions?
like it wasn't a late
Anyone
registration or
on
something.
where to go to add their accommodations? And don't forget about the demographics. Anything. So remember, that must be done before you put the student in the session. Okay, we're all good with that? Okay. Now, let's go, Ms. Stewart. What school are you located? All right, so let's see. Go back to, I'm going to go to student management,
Westdale Middle.
manage students, Westdale Middle. All right, in the chat area, can you type in the student's first name, last name? Okay, so first name, last name. Okay, let's see what shows up. So I'm going to click on Find Students. All right, so no matching students found. Okay. All right, so then the only other, because you said that a student's been there since day one of school? Okay. What I would do is probably wait another I mean, you're not going to start until the 19th. Wait 1 or 2 more days.
Yes.
And then if that doesn't work, then go here. I'm going to go to ebrschools.org, and you're going to go to Employee Resources, Quick Links, and then you go to SIS. So let's find SIS. Where's SIS? Well, they used to have that, right? Let's click on, you don't want JCampus because that's just asking access to JCampus. Oh, there it is. Yep, thank you. I was looking at the light blues. I didn't see these up here. So you can go to SIS support request.
Should you use that middle dark blue, that navy blue tab?
You're going to do your email, name of person submitting, phone number. You can do your site, and then right here, let me show you. Right here, it says request a DRC Leap 360 roster update. You may want to do that now, Miss Stewart. Go in now and do that. So right here it says request a, okay, yeah, request a DRC Leap 360 roster update. All right, everyone see this? Thank you for that question because
I'll do it now.
Gone through here. All right. So if a student isn't showing up and the student's been at your school for, let's say, more than 3 days, then go to the SIS request and then click on request a DRC Leap 360 roster update. Okay. And then there's a next up here. I don't know what that next brings you to, Ms. Stewart, but just go ahead and complete it all. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, now, so we know how to add a comment. Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I actually do have a question. If you go back to the edit student where it says demographic, I know we're not supposed to change anything there, but where it says education classification, like I know
Can you
that
change
one
it?
of these particular students is one of our STED students, ESS students, but his education classification is listed as regular. Does that matter? I mean,
Yeah,
I,
so
I
one of the
can't. I
things,
just
remember,
looked up
and
two
this is
different
true, and all of you
students,
keep this in
and on
mind,
both of
that when you
their
actually do the LEAP
demographics, it
test,
has
we
them
always
listed as
tell you
regular.
for the ESS accommodations, the state uploads those. But we also tell you go back and make sure that the accommodations are correct in DRC. If it's not, change it. So when you actually do the actual test in the spring, there are possible where there are errors. So you just go back and you fix it in the DRC. Does that help? Okay. Yep. So even though you may see some things already uploaded, always verify that information, because if you don't change it, then
Yes, sir.
when
Thank you.
you go and I don't think they have reports in Leap 360 that breaks it down by subgroup. But if they did, then your subgroups would not be correct.
So just to clarify, on the DRC where it says manage students, when we go into edit and add accommodations,
Yes.
when I click on the
Yep.
demographics,
You can make
go at the
changes.
bottom, go to the bottom, and if I know
And you can
that
do the
student
same thing
is an
for
ESS
the
student,
state
change it from
test.
regular to
Okay.
ESS. Okay.
All right. You're welcome. All right. So we know how to. Let me see if I can get that agenda out.
Thank you.
I have a lot of things open. All right. So we know how to create a test session. We know how to edit a test session. I'm sorry. You remember the editing test window? That's the window. Leave the dates as they show, right? Y'all remember we talked about that? I think it goes from what, July through June of next year. All right, so that's editing test window. Don't edit the test window. Leave them as they are. Okay, so we know how to add students to a test session, right? Okay, now here's the other thing. Leap Connect students, some of you may have, do not take Leap 360 because they don't take the regular Leap test. They take the Leap Connect test. So if you have a class, let's say a mixture of students, let's say 20 students, and 3 of those are Leap Connect, I'm not sure why you would have, I mean, it's possible, but if those students are severely handicapped, then they may not be in a traditional class. But if they are, then don't have them take the Leap 360. Okay? Any questions? All right. We are not exporting a test session. So I'm not sure why I put that there. So I'm going to go ahead and use a different color because you're just creating as you go. We can't do this one yet. Viewing and exporting test session details because students have not taken the test yet. But once students start taking the test, you'll be able to look at the session status details, whether they've started, whether it's in progress, and which students have started, which students have not started, and so on. So in one of the office hours, we'll talk about this one. We did talk about copying a test session. We know how to do that. Okay, now let's talk about printing test tickets. Oh, and we also talked about we talked about the accommodations. All right, printing test tickets. All right, so here's where you're going to go to print test tickets. I'm going to go to Sharon Hills because I think Sharon Hills already has sessions created. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on My Applications. I'm going to go to Test Management. I'm going to click on Manage Test Sessions. I'm going to pick an administration, Diagnostic Interim 24-25. I'm going to go to Sharon Hills. All right, so this is where I'm at. Now, I want to go ahead and print test tickets for those students. There are no sessions listed here, so I can't do anything just yet. What do I need to do to get those sessions listed for Sharon Hills? What do y'all think? Okay, they've already been created. You're right. Show sessions, right? Yeah. So once you've created them, then you got to come back and print those test tickets, right?
You have to
Because the
create them
students aren't going
first.
to be able to take the test until they have those
Show
test tickets.
sessions.
And by the way, before we go on, where do students go to take the LEAP test, the LEAP 360 test? Where do they go? Yeah, no, not DRC here. That the way you would go. Where do they go in their Chromebook? Can someone tell me?
DRC.
Yes. Yeah. So what I would do. No, go ahead. What are you going to say?
Isn't there an icon that should already be set up for the students on the Chrome?
Yeah, they don't.
So those of you that
I'm
are
sorry.
new, remember
If I'm not mistaken,
Monday,
they don't log
before you
in,
start
right? It's like the
giving the
little apps
diagnostic,
at the bottom left corner of the
I would take a
screen.
student's computer, the Chromebook, and I would verify for myself where the student goes. So they don't log in. At the bottom, when they open it up, there's a kiosk, I think, and they click on that kiosk and they use the one that says, and I'm not sure what it specifically says. I don't think it says DRC. It may say DRC Insight. Is that what it says? All right. So when you click on the DRC Insight, it brings you to that landing page. And I don't have a picture of that landing page. Let me see if I can find it
Yes.
in the user guide. Remind me to go and find that landing page in the user guide. Okay. So remind me to do that at some point. All right. So we can click on Show Sessions. All right. And so that's where I'm at. Okay. So I want to print the test tickets, right? So let's say I'm going to pick that first session right here. Now, you see that little printer icon right here? If I click on that little printer icon for that session, it prints the tickets for every student in that session. For Leap 360, there are 3 sessions for each student for ELA, and there are 3 sessions. I think there are 3 for ELA and 3 for math. But it'll list it here. So you scroll down, and by the way, there's a ticket for each of those sessions. So once a student finishes session 1, they have to get a different ticket for session 2. Once they finish session 2, they have to get a different ticket for session 3. So each session has their own ticket. All right, so if you scroll down, you'll see right here, I'm gonna have to blur all this, but you'll see the student's name, their date of birth, the LACID, and this right here is their username and password right here. Username and password. Now this says test session interim. This says interim right here. So I'm a little, see right here? Let me go ahead and, I don't want to extend it because then I'm going to have to blur this even bigger. Now see it says interim, so I'm a little confused. It should say diagnostic, right? So let me go back and check and, did you make a mistake? Okay, so now you know. Okay, so let me go back. So yeah, so the mistakes we made.
Yes.
So always
Yes,
make
it
sure
should.
you go back and verify
Yes,
that all
of
those
course I
sessions
did.
are correct. You don't
Um,
give students, the wrong session. By the way, I forgot, Ms. Johnson, I think this is you. Ms. Johnson, if you were to give that student these username and passwords, they would have been taking the interim. It's not like in the past. But why does it say interim test session? Okay.
well, the actual
So let me
assessment
outside of this
is
and
the
then
diagnostic
find one.
because Miss Johnson did the wrong
Let me
thing.
just do this one. See what. Okay. So I'm doing the math. I'm going to expand this. Okay. So
Do
right here,
the
you
math
see
one. The math one doesn't have
information.
interim
Always
on it.
verify that. So the assessment is diagnostic grade 5 math, and then there's the test session name. Okay. And scroll down. There's the username passwords, and notice there are 5 pages. Scroll down, and then these are the little tickets. So you could cut those out. See how they look? You could cut those out and then give each one to the student. So notice that when the student logs in or gets to that landing page, they're going to need their username and password. So each of those passwords are different. Keep in mind that when students, especially the younger students, when they type things in, they type in the wrong letters sometimes. So you may think that you did an error or there's something wrong with DRC. You may want, if a student says it's not working, you may want to go and type in their username and password yourself just to verify that it's not working. Okay, and then these are the rest of the students. Okay, but I'm a little confused because I think I can't remember how many sessions math has. Math has 3 sessions for the diagnostic. So why is there just 1 ticket available? Unless it's the same ticket for all 3 sessions, but they wouldn't do that, right? So I'm only seeing 1 ticket for all those sessions. Okay, so I'm not sure. In the LEAP test, each session has their own ticket. So maybe LEAP 360, they use the same ticket for all of them. Let me go to another one. Let me go to another math. Let me click on this one. Okay, so Miss Johnson, you named it interim again. So just change the session name. Yeah, it looks like, guys, it looks like those tickets, these tickets are good for all the sessions. So for every session, they're gonna have the same username and password. Same username and password for all those sessions for Leap 360. Okay? Any questions? All right. Okay. Does everyone know how to print the test tickets, right? So you're going to go to. Let me go back to here. All right. So you can go to My Applications. You're going to go to Test Management. You're going to go to Manage Test Sessions. Okay. You're going to need to make sure it says Diagnostic. Your school is listed. You're going to click on Show Sessions. And then the printer icon right here is the one you're going to need. And that it looks like for Leap 360, there are 3 sessions, but all 3 sessions use the same username and password for Leap 360. For a Leap test, that's not the case. So if you remember, those of you that gave the Leap test and you were the STC, session 1 had their own ticket, session 2 had their own ticket, and so on. Okay, any questions? Okay. All right, so let's go back right here. And okay, and so we did, oops, I mean to do that. All right, so we now know how to print test tickets. And by the way, see those page numbers right here? That's the page numbers for from the user guide. And I'll show you how to find the user guide in a little while. There may be a situation where you may have to unlock a test ticket. I can't do anything with that just yet, so I'm going to put that in red. I can't do anything with unlocking a test ticket today because no students have taken the test. And I can't do anything about ending incomplete tests because no students have started. So we're going to talk about those 3 reds right here. Those 3 things that are highlighted in red. We're going to do that during office hours when students have started taking the test. But everything in yellow, you should be good with. I'm going to remind me in a little while to show you where to find the user guide. Now, right here, number 2, Leap 360 has suggested times. But those suggested times, you need to have a conversation with your executive director about this. Because here's a situation. So let me show you where those suggested times are. So you're going to go to Leap 360 Canvas course. So in the Leap 360 Canvas course, and when you get to the Leap 360 Canvas course, for the diagnostic, the suggested times are here. So these are suggested times for the diagnostic. When I click on that, when I click on this, you get this. It says the following resource indicates the suggested times for the diagnostic test. These are only suggested times. Ask your principal and your executive director if the diagnostic test should be timed. The suggested times for ELA are on pages 16 and 19, and the suggested times are on page 19 through 30. And then this other link is in more detail, and I'll click on that in a little while. But if I click on the first one, that down arrow, these are suggested times, and that is coming from the pages 16 through 19 and 29 through 30 of the Teacher's Guide to Leap 360. So for the diagnostic, there are 3 sessions for both math and ELA, and these are the times, the suggested times. It is up to your executive director and your principal to determine if those tests should be timed. But if they are, remember though, those students with extended time, they have all day to do it, right? They have all day to do it. An issue with timing these is this. If you time them, it is possible some of your students will not answer all the questions. And so remember, these are formative tests. These are tests that are used to drive instruction, to help a teacher knows what does this student know, what does this student not know. So if you time them, it is possible a student will not answer all the questions, especially the writing responses. And then that teacher will not have all the data needed to determine how to help that student. So just be aware of some pitfalls of timing the Leap 360 test. But that is a conversation between your executive director and your principal. So before you tell teachers whether they're timed or not, make sure your principal and executive director have a discussion about it. Okay? All right, so everyone knows where to find this. We're going to go back. So remember, it's in the Leap 360 course. So you can go to home page, and under diagnostic, it is located right here. Suggested times for diagnostic. So you click on that. That first link is that table with the times, and that second link right here is just more detail. So let me click on it and kind of show you. So this is what it looks like. So so you have all the sessions, even the sessions you're not given for ELA, and then the limits. It tells you how many passages there are. It tells you the number of items in each of those sessions, and it tells you the content assessed. So the ELA should be first, and then somewhere in here is math. Okay, and there's the math. So the math, it tells you the grade level for each session, how many items there are, or points per task, and then the total points, and then the number of minutes, and then the standards that's on that diagnostic for that grade level. Okay, so again, that's in this link right here. Okay, so any questions on those suggested times before we move on? Okay. So that is this one right here. Okay. Then DRC support. DRC support. So there may be situations where there might be an issue with a student and them not being able to see a particular question, let's say. Then you're going to have to contact DRC. Contacting me, I'm going to have to contact DRC and then contact you, and you can do that. But you also have the ability to contact DRC. But let me show you where that's located. So when you go to DRC Insight, the contact information is right here. Okay, see right here. So 188-718-4836. So you have DRC contact, and you can also contact me. All right, and then, so that was that. And so these are going to be the office hours, and they'll be on Fridays at 9 a.m. So during the diagnostic part, there's going to be one on August 23rd, August 30th, September 6th, September 13th, and September 20th. So remember, the diagnostic ends on the 13th, September 13th. Remember, you need to tell teachers that some of those reports are not going to be available if the teacher does not score the writing response. So remind teachers that they have to score the writing response in order for the student to show up in those reports. Okay? Teachers must score the writing response in order for those students to show up on the reports. Make sure they know that. So once the students are done taking the diagnostic, the teacher needs to then go in and score the writing response. All right, one of the task, and I believe, I can't remember which one it is, but if I go back to the Leap 360 course, right here is information for teachers about educator scoring. So this right here tells them how to score the writing responses. So make sure that teachers have access to the Leap 360 course and that they know how to get to that. Now that's going to be a task I'm going to send you. One of the tasks will say, make sure that teachers know where to go in Leap 360 to find out information about educator scoring. There'll be a task I'll send you. And then these are the reports that teachers need to be aware of that they have access to. For you, these are yours right here. So at school level, you have access to these reports. Okay? And there's information here on how to find those reports. So we're going to talk about those in office hours. So when we get to the office hours, we'll spend some time on talking about those reports. But for right now, I just need to make sure that you know how to create a test session, how to add accommodations, how to put students in a session, how to print test tickets. Okay, any questions at this point? All right, now let me go to show you where the user guide is. So you remember those page numbers right here? These page numbers you see here, those come from the user guide. So the user guide you can find in two places. One is the Canvas course. So you go to the Canvas course, the user guide is located right here. See where it says DRC user guide? That's just right here. So if I click on that, DRC user guide, that's just right here. See that little down arrow? So I click on the down arrow. And it's like 138 pages. And so if you go, let's say, to page 67. So page 67. This is where to start talking about creating test session. All right. So that's found in the user guide. And then the next one is editing the test window. Don't edit the test window. That's what I said a while ago. Right here, I said this one right here. I said leave the test window as it is from July through June. Okay, don't mess with the test window, and so on. Okay, any question on that? So that's how you can get it from the Canvas course. From DRC, let me show you how to get that. All right, so in DRC, you're at My Applications. To get the user guide, you're then going to go to General Information. General Information. When you click on General Information, you're then going to go to Documents. When you click on Documents, you're then going to get this. You want to make sure it says LEAP 360 Diagnostic Interim. And for document type, you have all these to choose from. All these to choose from. You have the reference sheets. You have the teacher study guides, which the teacher study guides the teacher has access to as well. So in the teacher study guide, by the way, it's where all the rubrics are for scoring the writing response. That's where the rubrics are. And in one of those videos for teachers, it tells them where to go to find those teacher study guides. So that's where the scoring rubrics are. But what you want, though, to get to the user guide is this right here, user guides. And then say show documents. And then all these user guides show up. I can't expand this, but the one that we were looking at is this one right here, DRC Insight Portal User Guide. And then you're going to open it up as a PDF right here. For charter schools, if you're a charter school giving LEAP 360, you need to make sure that you give this technology user guide to your IT person, because they're going to have to make sure that all your Chromebooks and all your desktops have the most current DRC Insight icon. But in EBR, our IT department already did that for you. But for charter schools, each charter school has their own technology person. They're required to do that. So those are the only two that you need for right now. Here's a LEAP 360 Diagnostic Quick Start Guide. So if you click on that, let me go ahead and click on that just to show you. And you see this right here? So you see all this, right? So this Quick Start Guide, what that does, it allows you, it allows anyone at your school to take the test as a student would take the test. So right here where it says teacher access link, if you click on that, and then right here is remember the form numbers, you got to make sure you're using the correct form. These are the username, and then the password is LEAP 360 for everything. But when you click on that teacher access link right here, it should give you this right here. So when you click on that, you do that username and password, and then a teacher can take the test as a student would. You'll see that? Now that brings me to one other thing real quick, and I mentioned that in the overview. Remember, some of you for grade 3, for the LEAP test, let's suppose you're given the paper test for LEAP, right? For the LEAP 360, you have to give the online test. All grade 3 students will take the LEAP 360 online, even if they're taking the state test on paper. So all grade 3 students will take the LEAP 360 test online. Okay, any questions what I just said? Okay. All right. I think that's what I wanted to cover today. We went through this quickly, but it wasn't difficult stuff. So I think that if you look at the document in DRC for task number 6, it should give you what you need to set up the test sessions. Remember, if you make an error in setting up your test sessions and you already have your students in there, all you gotta do is copy the test session and then do the username and then the correct form. Because your chances are you probably will make a mistake with the form numbers. Always make sure, again, always make sure you and your backup, let me go back and remind you, you and your backup, always make sure, test management, manage test sessions, let's do that again, manage test sessions, show sessions. All right, always make sure that this information in this column right here is correct form. So if this is grade 5 ELA, make sure it's a correct form. If this is grade 4 ELA, make sure it's the right form. For diagnostic, there should not be any errors with forms because there's only one form to choose from for each of the grade levels. Okay? All right. Anything? Now's your time to ask. Everybody okay? Yep. Yes. It won't be sent out right away because I got to blur some student names. Okay.
Michael,
Anything
I
else?
wasn't able to get on earlier. Have you recorded this?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So once you start going through this,
Yes, sir,
and
I
have any
understand.
questions, just email or call me. You know I'm usually at my desk, so you should be able to get me quickly, unless I'm on a phone call with somebody else. But just leave a voicemail. Okay. All right. Have a great beginning of the year, guys. And don't forget to, don't leave just yet, because not all of you signed in. Hold on. Let me find it. Don't go just yet. Make sure you signed in. Some of you came in after the fact. I'm gonna put it back in chat area. So I put in a sign sheet in the chat area. Make sure you sign in if you didn't sign in. Okay. All right. And don't forget, the pre and post tests are not mandatory, but some of you give it for the SLTs. If you have any questions on pre and post Illuminate, make sure you contact Mary. Mary's the one that oversees DNA Illuminate. Okay, so that's it.